Hey everyone, welcome to another Brandable Minute. For those of you that already know, I'm fascinated with anti-hero and anti-heroes and even the hero's journey in general, but especially anti-heroes, because I don't know if you remember, but around like the 2012 and a little bit earlier, but there was this era where FX and AMC, the television networks, really had a theme of anti-heroic uh, protagonists that dominated the screen. So you had Jax Teller from Sons of Anarchy. You had Walter White from Breaking Bad. You had Don Draper from Mad Men. There were a few, right? And even there were some before, like Dexter, and from other networks. The point is this, though: your definition of what branding is can be totally different from someone else's. And I shouldn't say totally different, but it can be controversial. And my goal is to help you to understand today. Just pick a definition and run with it. Okay. You may not subscribe to a brand being a set of stories, memories, expectations, relationships that causes someone to choose your brand or product over uh, another competitor's time and time again. That's okay. But choose something and then run with it. Okay, why do I say that? Because in this era, and I know it was before 2012, but I think there was a peak when people, like, I believe, started to take notice of a lot of these shows that were already in production. They were already probably like in their season 2, 3, but around 2012, I want to say 2013, I think that's when it really started to get noticed, I think. And one of my favorite shows was Mad Men, and I believe that Don Draper was an anti-hero. But this is from Matthew Weiner. He is the creator and showrunner of Mad Men, and he simply says this: Don Draper is not an anti-hero. And I think he further says it's not his bad actions that determine whether or not he's a hero or an anti-hero. Now, I then started to parse this a little bit. So remember, guys, we're going through my little black book here, and it's getting a little bit more challenging, and I'll explain why towards the end. But I wrote that he doesn't have traditional heroic qualities, but he's not an anti-hero. This is really what Weiner is saying. But then I also wrote the anti-hero is a progression to being an extremely diabolical person, perhaps a villain, such as Walter White from Breaking Bad. So my conclusion was that Weiner has a different, and I wrote this July in 2014. Weiner has a different personal perspective on what an anti-hero is and is not. And what he isn't is a traditional literary anti-hero. If Weiner can have his own definition, this is not me realizing this. If Weiner can have his own definition, then I can too. But I want mine to resonate on a literary level as well. I decided for myself, for somebody who has this fascination with the anti-hero's journey and the hero's journey, that an expert like Weiner can have his definition and I can have mine too. Now, obviously, it will evolve, and I believe it has, but it also it's backed with research. And then if you go online and you put in, is Don Draper an anti-hero? Man, there are a lot of people who, who just flat out tell Weiner that he's wrong. Not even that he has a different perspective, but he's just wrong, which is interesting because how can you be wrong with the very character that you created, right? But that's going to be the reality when it comes to branding. You're going to have back and forth chatter when it comes to branding versus marketing, which one comes out of the other. And there are going to be so many different perspectives, guys. What I'm trying to tell you is this: find a framework and work as coherently as possible. Align as much as you can as possible within that framework. And if the framework breaks because of new knowledge or because of market acceptance or rejection or whatever it is, then you adapt your framework. But what you can't do is study branding, study marketing forever and ever and never deploy it against something real. And that something real is people. Your people will determine what is and what is not good branding. Okay. Now, obviously, when you become an expert at this thing and when you become more knowledgeable, you will determine that for them. There's so many companies that do that right now, that even when it doesn't seem as if the product or the service is attractive, they do their best and they find a way to make it so. And perhaps that's because of the brand equity that they've already built, so that anything that comes out, even if it's questionable, it's still enough for people to think twice and say, I don't gel with it initially, but maybe there's something that they know that I don't. And that's because of a level of trust that has been built. All right. So you find your definition, write it out for yourself. That's what I did for myself. Write out your definition and then start working or creating a framework around that thing. So for me, because it's a set of branding, a set of stories, relationships, expectations, memories, I started with, okay, what are the stories that are going to be important for this product that I was going to build? How important is stories in the top in the four aspects of branding? And I chose story first. And I said, if I can control the stories, as we talked about with the CEO of I think it's Storify, where he talks about, you control the culture, or you can change a culture by changing the stories. Stories are powerful. I can't create memories because, a brand is a set of memories. What are you going to create memories from if you don't have something of substance? Stories. What are the expectations going to come from? The stories. So for me, it wasn't even just the product or the narrative. It was this, or the service. It was the stories themselves. Those were going to be the things that you attach on top of your product, you attach on top of your service. People can resonate and maybe even engage more, or engage first with the story before the product even comes out. It happens all the time. Pre-ordering things, and what people see on Kickstarter and all of the crowdfunding sites, stories are being told. So that's my definition. And I hope that you do find yours as well. Now, this is what we're going to do. I have realize that there's quite a bit of more information that's in here, and I need to start kind of figuring out how I'm going to share the rest of what's in here, because uh, it's like it's a lot of it is not just personal, but so this may or may not be the last brandable minute from the book. And I can always find some, new concepts, like, for instance, the difference between brand image and brand identity. There are people that believe that there is a difference. I do as well. And we can quickly do that for tomorrow. But the point is this: I want to see if I can pull out some more nuggets from the old black book here, and maybe I need to find some more of my old moleskins and see if there's some stuff that I can pull out. But anyway, that's the whole point of what this is all about, guys. We just are sharing our work with the world, sharing our research, sharing our own stories that we've created with you. And when I say we, it's really me, myself, and I guess makes a we. Right? So yeah. So remember, you define what it is for you. Yes, there are pundits out there. There are experts out there. Marty Newmeyer is a great one. Start with that. Start with the book Zag. There's so many different routes that you can take to understand branding. So when I say you define it for yourself, I'm not saying that you just blindly just choose, what it feels like. No, do the homework. Do the homework. Do the research. Use this as a platform, Brandable Minute, and hey, go ahead and frame your own definition and work within that. All right. We'll see you on the next Brandable Minute.